Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Maharaj is in a waiting room. One second, I will.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for that beautiful sound. Hare Krishna, my great apologies to you all. I was just dealing with a couple of people here, part of the sort of media in this town called New Glasgow in Nova Scotia, translated as New Scotland. And it's an eastern part of Canada. We're 1 hour ahead of you over there. People are really friendly. The pace of life is slower than normal. And yeah, it's got a lot going for it. There's people coming in, moving in from the big city in this area, Nova Scotia in general. Immigrants are coming in, international students. They're all exploring new territory and quieter places. So that's my apology. I just had to really make that a priority to connect with these people. So next time when I come around, we'll have a Tales from Trails session. We'll invite the whole town, and we'll get them to, we'll tell them about our adventures, walking, then we'll fold in some of the philosophy, and then we'll get people to do the Swami step, and then we'll do kirtan, mantra meditation with these folks. That's great. That's nice. We can, every town and village is going to be realized, and I can't wait to get back walking again. I was on one trail yesterday, and there was a sign up there. I had to laugh, and there was an image of a ferry, and say, people take their dogs and for a walk, and the caption was, "There is no poop ferry." POOP. So pick up after your dog. It was just a good, cute little thing. All right, so now I see devotees are there from different parts, and thank you. I see Nitapri is also. Sankalpa, our stalwart followers for this session, is here. Yeah, thank you. So let us begin then, okay? Nama Om Vishnu Vadaya Krishna Vishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamane Tanamane Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Shri Gaur Bhakta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Jai. Okay, so we'll go to the page one invocational mantra that we use all the time. Om Jnana Timirandasya
Om Jnana Timirandasya
Jnananjana Shalakaya
Jnananjana Shalakaya
Chakshurun Militam Yena
Chakshurmilitamena
Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha.
Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha.
I was born in the darkest ignorance,
I was born in the darkest ignorance,
and my spiritual master opened my eyes
and my spiritual master opened my eyes
with the torch of knowledge.
with the torch of knowledge.
I offer my respectful obeisance unto him.
I offer my respectful obeisances unto him.
Jai, thank you so much. Okay, so we'll ask our host Vaishnavi what verse we're on today, and we'll get on with the show, as they say.
134.
Okay, great. This is a good one. I mean, they all are. Okay, so Mrityu Sarvaharas Chaham Udbhavas Cha Bhavishyatam Kirti Shrir Vakcha Narinam Smritir Medha Dhriti Kshama. Okay, so I am all devouring death, and I'm the generating principle of all that is yet to be. Among women, I am fame, fortune, fine speech, memory, intelligence, steadiness, and patience. Good. So maybe just kind of repeat after me with these phrases. I am all devouring death,
I am all devouring death,
and I'm the generating principle of all that is yet to be.
and I am the generating principle of all that is yet to be.
Among women, I am fame,
Among women, I am fame,
fortune,
fortune,
fine speech,
fine speech,
memory,
memory,
intelligence,
intelligence,
steadfastness,
steadfastness,
and patience.
and patience.
Okay, great. So we'll ask one of you kind souls to come forward and read just the first paragraph. We only have 2 paragraphs, so anybody, I leave it to Vaishnavi to deal with all the eager beavers.
Kirti, can you please go first?
I just saw a chat message from her. She's on an important call, so you might have to choose somebody else.
Okay. Adhikarta, you want to read?
As soon as a man is born, he dies at every moment. Thus, death is devouring every living entity at every moment. But the last stroke is called death itself. The death is Krishna. As for fortune development, all living entities undergo 6 basic changes. They are born, they grow, they remain for some time, they reproduce, they dwell, and they finally dwindle. They dwindle, and finally they vanish. Of these changes, the first is deliverance from the womb, and that is Krishna. The first generation is the beginning of all future activities.
Right, thank you so much. Yes. So this is a very verse of great profundity, especially I'd say the first verse. Amritu sarvaharascha, I'm all devouring death. So we identify Krishna in many different ways. Like say, for instance, when I see a young child, the household that I'm staying in, the boy's name is Achincha. Cute little kid, perfect set of teeth, row of teeth, lovable, a little bit on the skinny side. I can say that now the parents aren't here. Needs to eat more, fatten up a little bit more. But when I see a little kid like that with all the energy, I say, here's Krishna. And of course, it reminds us a little bit of baby Krishna and his abilities to, just pull people in with his charm. So that is one way to identify Krishna, through energy that we see. Another way to identify the Lord is through death itself. When the energy stops, or seemingly stops, just comes to an end. This phrase is much like where Krishna says, I am time. Or if you recall, not so long ago, we also heard about time. Of subduers, I am time, the Lord says, right, in this set of verses. So it's significant enough. And we should always keep that in mind, that death is not something necessarily to get overly emotional about. We just have to say this is a beat in the rhythm of time. That's all. Death is a beat in the rhythm of time. And so where there are beats, there is a rhythm. And where there's a rhythm, there's a flow. And we don't have to, say, get all depressed about where things flow, just like a waterfall flows. So there's a tendency in some cultures to say this is the end, and we'll put a big plaque, big monument up there, mausoleum, I guess they call it some places, just to remember the individual, give some honor to someone who contributed something to the world. But we must know that that life of that person was just a small phase in that person's existence. There's going to be another frame of activities, and it goes on because we're talking about the soul's transmigration. But let it be known that when death comes, it's just kind of like Krishna taking the mallet and going boom, okay, and there will be another boom, another one, and we'll just continue on. It's music, and where there is music, we don't need to lament, as Krishna explains in the 2nd chapter. Things everything will simply go on. In fact, whatever you have done that's of great contribution to the world is something to praise, to glorify, right? Everyone's done something good in their life. And at the time of death, that's one thing that people do. So-and-so was a good man, even if he wasn't. And they just try to highlight some, because everyone did do something. Everyone was good, and I find that in the world in which we live, people just kind of dwell so much on what didn't go right. Well, why don't we just reverse it and go for what people do that was positive and, inspiring. So, Mrityu Sarva Haraschaham. Krishna says, I am all devouring death. So when we see death, we should also see God. It's another time we should always see God, 24/7. But it's at particular moments that he just obviously comes right in front of you. Here I am. And those are great moments. We shouldn't see it as something else, not as punishment, but just a glorious moment and just a step in someone's journey. That's all. So I think it's very pronounced, and we should I would say, take a note of this. Write it in your note or put it in your phone or something. Computer, Mrityu Sarva Haraschaham. I am all devouring death. Good. Okay. Yes, so the 6 phases of time, please take note of that as well. It's already mentioned in the 2nd chapter of the Gita as well. Talk about birth, growth, some time level where things level off. We call that maintenance. And then there's usually reproduction of some sort. And then finally there's dwindling. And then finally there's the last, when you go into the box. So 6 phases time to take note of. And the last point made here, I think, is also really profound. I'm the generating principle of all that is yet to be. So whatever is to come, that's also the Lord pressing the button, right? That's Krishna pressing the button. Whatever is yet to come, good or bad, that's also his doing. And sometimes it's really hard to understand the things that go in this world. There's a lot of disappointing, situations that happen in this world. But it is a drama that we go through in this world, and Krishna is somehow behind it, in a very remote way. I think we can go to the next paragraph. Does anybody else have something they'd like to say in regards to this first paragraph and the first sentence of the verse? We are going to be going to something that feminists will love, and if they've ever heard us being, let's say, the dominant males and patriarchal people, then we can counter it with some of this particular second part of the verse. Anybody has something they'd like to say? You can raise your hand or just let Vaishnavi know.
You gone from
Yeah,
camera.
Hare Krishna.
Say.
Gaura Chandra, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Good to hear from you.
I heard Bhakti Purushottam Maharaj in a class said that the pain the soul goes through at the time of death is equal to 40,000 Scorpio bites. Can you comment a little bit on that?
Well, I wasn't there for the class, so I can't comment. But we understand that the soul is not feeling like the bite of one scorpion. The body feels that pressure, but the soul is aloof somehow. But the soul finds itself to be, it's encumbering. It's an uncomfortable situation to be in, that a body when one is meant to move on. And just the greatest pain I think we should always reflect on is the separation from Krishna, not having the will to cooperate with him. And that is the most painful point I would just like to comment on. It's not people suffer, through various diseases and imposed, let's say, struggles, but it's ultimately, and when it gets very severe, it means we definitely have to move out of this body. But fine, Scorpion, I like that idea. It's, it resonates with some people, I guess. Scorpions are pretty vicious, and we don't have them up in. I don't think you have them up in Calgary or Cleveland and so on like that.
In
I don't know
India,
what you can compare it to.
below.
Hare
Yeah.
Krishna Maharaj, I used to own a scorpion. I used to own a black scorpion.
And did the scorpion ever bite you, or?
It came close a lot of times. Yes, it did. Very close, but no bite. No bites, but it came close a lot.
Yeah. Prabhupada was sitting at peace in his room in the Radha Damodar temple. He had a room where he was staying at before he came to America. And most of you know about that. He was set for perfection, for success. Living in Vrindavan, peaceful place, everything's very Krishna conscious, but he had something else to do. So anyways, one day a scorpion did crawl along, didn't quite get to him, but it was just, he could have got to him, he could have bit him, but he didn't. So scorpions, I remember walking through the desert in Nevada. I had to be a little bit aware of scorpions being around, especially if I'm taking a nap, which I'd have to do from time to time. They'd be around, but such is life. There's always something to create a pinprick. There's always something biting you, nagging you, right? Scratching at you. So that's very interesting. Scorpion. I hope you learned a lot from the scorpion. We've got a message here from Manasi Ganga. She wants to say something.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Okay.
So Maharaj, there are 6 phases: born, grow, remain for some time, reproduce, dwindle, and finally vanish. Sometimes we have seen this is 6 processes, 6 stages not complete for the person. Sometimes die, right? This happens. So can you comment on that, why that is happening like this?
So Dharma Brute, I apologize. It came out a little choppy for me, and someone was trying to call me from Charlottetown. So can you just say it again?
Yeah, so there's 6 phases, right?
Yes, okay.
There's born, remain for some time, reproduce, dwindle, and vanish. But there are some souls, they are in the womb itself, they die.
Yes.
Some people born and die, and some
That's
people
right.
die as a middle age, and some people go through all the process. So could you expand why this is for different people? Is it due to karma, or?
Oh yeah, definitely. Those that are not born, unborn, and they die within the womb, they don't have a chance to go through these 3 phases, but they will most likely, again, they'll be given another chance to connect with a male, like a father, and then a mother, and like usually in that order, and then get a chance to be born. They'll go through it all. Some people don't have a full life; they die young, and that is always considered to be unfortunate. But it is karmic, yeah. And then we can also, some people rejoice. Okay, that person was 12 years old, they were suffering a lot, and it's probably better that they went anyways. There was such misery. So, yeah, it is karma. Different karmic makeup for every individual Atma. That's right. So not everybody has this 6-step procedure, but maybe in the next life, if you're cut short in this existence, it can happen for you in the next life. Yeah, so you just wait your turn. Be patient. You have to be like take on the quality of a lady and be patient. At the last phrase, kshama, right? Just be patient. Your turn will come.
Yeah, thanks, Maharaj.
It's not so much what how long you live, but how do you live?
Quality of life.
what are you doing with yourself? And if you're a young child and you're fortunate enough to have parents who raise you in higher consciousness, oh, you're so lucky, even if you die young.
Yeah.
Oh, we take an example of somebody who didn't have a chance to have a full life, like Anne Frank, famous, one of the most famous popular books of all times, Diary of Anne Frank. And, she died young. I think she had a boyfriend there, that family that was living there in seclusion, and trying to stay away from the Nazis. So she died pretty young, right? In the concentration camp through the horrible method that prisoners had to go through. But, her consciousness was so good. That's the amazing thing. She was so resilient. And so it's not so much how long you live, but what did you do with yourself during the time that you were here? How did you spend your days? Did you contribute? Or were you a leech? Were you a scorpion? Going around biting everybody? So we have to look at it like that. Human life is meant for following Dharma and to come to the ultimate surrendering platform. And if you don't do that, or if you're not even near there, then you are dead. You're as good as dead.
Walking dead.
Yeah, you're walking dead. What do they say? You're as dead as a doorknob, or is that what the saying is?
That is a doornail.
Doorknob, yeah, it's pretty dead. I don't know. I don't understand that analogy. I think doors are pretty living. They're very useful.
No. It's a doornail, Maharaj.
Doornail. Okay.
Doornail. Yeah.
Okay. Doornail. Okay. That funny saying. In any case, yeah, you're dead. You're living dead. If you have no space for cultivating your spiritual life. The Bhagavatam in the first canto talks about if you are, let's say, carrying yourself and you've got a nice headdress on, but it only becomes a heavy burden if you don't use that head for bowing down to the Lord. What are the use of legs if they don't go for going to a sacred place like what we say in Sanskrit, tirtha? What's the use of such a body? What's the use of your human form of life if you don't cultivate it spiritually, and so on, like that? Yeah. And so it's Ambarish, a king, a pious king, who demonstrated how you can act out all the 9 processes of devotional service, with the different parts of your body. But if you're using your life and it's not taking any time or not making it a priority to be spiritual, and I mean be spiritual, not necessarily religious, but spiritual, practice true spirituality with your attitude and not sectarian, then what is the use of that kind of life? Might as well be a stone. Haribol. Yes.
Depending on that, so now we have the new law, right? People
Yeah.
who are, their caretaker can make a decision whether to put them down, right?
Are you talking about humans, euthanasia? Is that what?
They have the new law is coming
Yeah,
on.
new law. Yes.
A cancer patient is suffering so much, and you can make a decision. Doctor can administer some medicine for lay them. So
yeah,
that
right.
Have the right patients, the caretaker have the right to end the death, make the death to happen.
That's a very good question, and yeah, it is a point of discussion. In most cases, we should allow a person to live out their life as fully as they can, and try to envelop oneself in Krishna consciousness. And we can try to ease the pain with our traditional methods of chanting and so on like that. Yeah, some people do go through a lot of pain, that's for sure. And Yeah, but it's a big topic. Let's say, often through the current medicinal methods, a person is allowed to prolong their life through painkillers and so on like that. And I think it's the prerogative of the individual to say, no, I'd rather go through pain and leave now. I think that's God's will. And so let me be. And so I think it is a choice situation. It is a situation. And I don't think we can make real strong declarations as to, from our standpoint as a society, to say totally what's right and wrong. But where we do have an obligation to our adherents or our congregants and to our devotee friends, we do want to encourage them, whatever, if you're going sooner or later, cultivate your Krishna consciousness, really, and let's say, boil the milk, as we say. Really work at enriching your Krishna consciousness now, and don't delay. Don't delay. Don't try to prolong your sense gratificatory programs, but really enrich your life right now. As the message is very clear. You're going and make the best of what's left of it. So that might be a satisfactory answer for some people. It might not be for others, but I'm not going to be an extremist about this on this topic. Even with birth, in general, we also want to say that, when it comes to abortion, we don't approve. We say it's not right, but there are some cases where, say, like if it's for the sake of the mother's life or something of the spirit of Uttara in the Bhagavatam is very reflective of a real saint or a hero, an Ashwatthama, was a Brahmastra, was released by Ashwatthama to specifically kill the fetus in her womb, and she sensed it. This fiery weapon was coming her way. So precise was this, aiming at her target of her child to be. And her mood was, she came to Krishna and said, please, you can let my life go, but I want my child to be spared. So it was just, she had the right mood, the right attitude. And what's important is your long-term benefit. And if we're just thinking about prolonging this body, but we don't do anything spiritual with it, what's the point? No, really. If you're not, we are designed for spiritual cultivation. That's the bottom line. And whatever it takes to be there. If you have to take a painkiller just so you can continue on with your life, great, go for it. If surgery is there, it's all part of the Vedic tradition. After all, medicine is part of your life. But to assist someone in their death through like a kind of, I guess, I don't know if they call it technically mercy killing in today's contemporary circumstances, but I guess we have to look at individual cases. Thank you for that good question. Anybody else have anything they want to say? Okay, so let us go on then to the next paragraph. And would somebody like to do the honors? Vaishnavi, would you like to ask someone?
Kirti, do you want to read next?
Sure, Mataji, I can read. So next, do I need to read the Sanskrit too, or just
No. Just the paragraph. What's left?
the
seven
seven opulences listed: fame, fortune, fine speech, memory, intelligence, steadfastness, and patience are considered feminine. If a person possesses all of them and some of them, he becomes glorious. If a man is famous as a righteous man, that makes him glorious. Sanskrit is a perfect language and is therefore very glorious. If after studying one can remember a subject matter, he is gifted with a good memory or smriti, and the ability not only to read many books on different subject matters, but to understand them and apply them when necessarily is intelligence, made another opulence. The ability to overcome unsteadiness is called firmness or steadfastness, dhriti. And when one is fully qualified, yet is humble and gentle, and when one is able to keep his balance both in sorrow and in the ecstasy of joy, he has the opulence called patience, Shama.
Thank you so much for that reading. And so we're talking about some particular qualities that we should also all abide by, if it's at all possible to cultivate these. Prabhupada says these are oftentimes feminine traits, and I wouldn't argue about that. I think that, like I said earlier on, if people will challenge us because we come across as a sort of male dominant place, okay, males may dominate, but look at the strengths of the women. Everyone has a man may have, in general, greater physical strength to a woman, and he may have certain embellishments, but then on the other side, just to balance it off, women have these great qualities that are listed here. And, I think everyone, when people study, gender particular qualities, I think everyone's got this side, a female side, male side to them. And just to go over some of them, well, just starting from the back, I would say Shema, because we already talked about patience. Patience is an incredible virtue. And just like for many of us, we would like to consider ourselves pure in consciousness. We're never the ones to gauge it. It's very hard. It's for others to say, in most cases, oh, you're a very patient person. Thank you. And we may say, so patience is a great quality to cultivate. And it just means that you have to respect time and circumstance. Time, place, and circumstance, right? Those three. To be able to juggle them really well. That it would be a way to demonstrate patience. And when we're patient, it just means that something isn't quite right. Usually that's what it means. And when you go to see the doctor, or you go to a medical clinic, you have to wait in line, and you just can't demand, if somebody's doing a surgery, and you can't just push your way into the door. Listen, I need to be looked after, doctor. It's not possible. You just have to be a little bit patient until your turn comes. And so in the context of us, becoming purified through sadhana, that also, the results of that take a little bit of time. For many devotees that I hear from when they first join, said, oh, especially when we're young, we're idealistic. So we're thinking, oh, wow, in 1 month, I'll be a pure devotee if I chant sincerely. And then 1 month passes by, and you say, oh, I've been chanting Hare Krishna, I've been doing all the right things, but I actually haven't yet, I'm not yet a pure devotee. I think it might take a little more time than I initially anticipated, right? And because we're carrying so much baggage from the past. And to empty out our baggage and to throw away our bad stuff, our bad karma, takes a little bit of time. We're not willing to let go so easily. So patience is great. I'm sure there's great quotes out there about patience, but just to simplify, it means to be able to, be very, let's say, to just simply wait with calmness, with calmness, and let God do his work. Let Krishna do his work. When we're impatient, we're thinking, I'm the controller, I'm the doer. It's my saying, it's my doing, I'm going to push my way in. No, let God do the pushing. Okay, so that's one great quality. And then someone's calling in. We have steadfast. It's a beautiful trait we find amongst ladies and just, saintly people in general. Anybody showing that they're steady at what they do, great. I'll relay with you one interesting thing that I went through on my second walk across Canada. I was on Highway 7, and I was kind of leapfrogging with a highway company. They were improving the highway. They were doing some, let's say, paving the road, repaving. And they were kind of going along and just doing a little bit of patchwork. So for about 3 or 4 days in a row, they were in front of me, the highway repairmen, and then I was sort of like leapfrogging. I was jumping, passing by them, and then they come over and pass by me, and that was going on for about 3 consecutive days. And I guess the boss, the foreman, was saying, he's shouting loudly, he said, "Who is that guy over there?" And one of the guys says, "He's a monk and he's walking across Canada." I guess he heard about it. And then the boss says, "Hire him." Hire him. So it was just, what did he see in our walking endeavor? Just being steady at something, It's such a great gift. Don't give up so easy. Don't give up on people. Don't give up on your co-workers. Don't give up on your family. Don't give up on your partner. Don't give up on the values that you have. And so just be steady. And it's such a great quality. And in Sanskrit, that's called driti. Let's go to intelligence. I have a god sister in Montreal. His name is Medya. And she's a very intelligent lady. Talk about steadiness. She's we're putting a little book together about devotees and their little biographies, and she told me all about her. I was getting I'm the one to take the initial notes, and I send it to an editor. And she was a steady girl, steady, raised in Roman Catholic parents, and they were steady with God, and she never left. People think that, okay, you left Jesus, but you didn't really if you go to Krishna, because the values and principles are the same, right? So parents might get upset about those things, but if you're steady with spirituality, especially in that department, you've got some good qualities to be proud of. So we talked about, let's see, these two particular qualities, and intelligence. Intelligent, I would say this girl is intelligent because she applied herself. She didn't talk about it, but it's an application that's important. Intelligence with what? Intelligence with understanding I'm a spirit, getting your identity right. I'm not this body. That's the bottom line, intelligent conclusion to make about life. I'm an anti-material particle. I am a spiritual being. I'm not matter. So that's an intelligent conclusion. So those are 3 qualities, and again, like we're going backwards. What do you think about this, Bruce? I would just take note of these words and get them down in Sanskrit, just because there's so much more meaning. Anybody have anything they'd like to add to this? We've got like 10 minutes left, so we don't mind hearing your comments on these particular qualities right here.
Yes, Maharaj.
Yes.
That word medha, it reminds me of that verse in the Bhagavatam. Yagyai Sankirtana Prayi Ejaz Sumeda Saha.
Yes.
that somebody who's gifted with the brain substance in the age of Kali will take the Sankirtan movement of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So I guess all the people in this Zoom, they are very intelligent because they're all Sankirtan followers.
Well, it sounds to me like Gaura Chandra, you're complimenting everybody. How does everybody feel about that?
Oh.
I say I would say I was intelligent for a moment and say I would try to continue this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's intelligence because you're looking at the full scope of things. You're not just looking at the anatomy of your body, which seems to be a strong tendency these days. How well do you look? But no, how beautiful is your soul? You know, it's that's the main component. That's what you are. So that's intelligent. The body, even if it looks good, it's going to dwindle and won't look good after some time. So don't, concentrate more on your very being, and that means you're intelligent. Yes, yeah. The word, by the way, Gaura Chandra, it is used several times in the Bhagavad Gita. Like, for instance, so those who worship demigods for temporary benefits, they're not so intelligent. So, okay. Great. So then, anybody else has anything they'd like to add in regards to these particular qualities?
Maharaj, I have a question.
Yes, please.
The word patient and patience,
Yes.
there are probably any linguistic connection between the two words. One came from the other. Have you just a thought went through my mind?
Yeah, well, I mean, it might be a speculation what you're saying, but I think it's a good speculation, and I've thought about this as well. Patience means that you really have to sort of wait your time, wait your turn. You can't just come up with, it's not a matter of a magic wand that's going to change everything for you in a split second. First of all, before you're administered some medicine or given some prescription, as you know, you've been involved in that field. People have been coming to you all this time for a prescription coming from their doctor, right? So the person who comes in and he or she is having to be patient. Even when you put your formula together and you pack it. I don't know what your terminology is. They have to wait and be patient. And even after you administer the medicine, whether it comes in the pill form or some other method, you still have to be patient for the results. It's not going to happen just like even overnight. So it really means to be calm during all circumstances and wait your turn, like pregnancy, isn't it? Pregnancy. I'm sure that when a couple agrees to have a child, or they're, by circumstance it happens, and they're eager for a child, there's patience that is required. 9 months, or somewhere a little bit less, sometimes a little bit more. You just have to be super patient. I think that's the best example to give. Wait your turn, time will come, and there's going to be some pain in the process, right? Let's ask some of the mamas in our circle here. There's pain during the course of it all, and I'm sure there was some kind of joy. This is like a few minutes for the Matajis, If any of you want to share what it was like, the feeling of having, a little spirit soul in your body, yeah, there was pain, and I'm sure there was some contentment. Hey, someone's coming into our lives, that we can share. With Vaishnavi, she's smiling like anything. Do you want to share anything about what that was like? What is patience? It means to be calm in the midst of what turbulence, isn't it? Go ahead, say something.
I was just happy for both my children, Maharaj. I didn't.
You were happy the whole time through. Wow. Nice. Are there any other Matajis?
Except
or if we have any Pitajis who remember their past life when they were a mama, please share your experience.
I have a friend, Maharaj, I have a friend, and she, in her pregnancy, she threw up every single day. So she didn't want to do it another time. So she had one child. She learned her lesson, I guess.
Yes, yes. And again, it's a karmic thing. Yeah, some people have a hard time with it. Yes, it's not the same for everybody. But when she had her child, was she relieved?
Yeah, but she still couldn't forget how
Yeah.
it was. So
Yeah, sure, sure.
she was
Yeah.
disillusioned.
Once burnt, twice shy. Yeah. All right. Yeah, some people, when they get the vaccine, they do pretty good. Some people don't do so good. So it's just to give another example. Some people get, let's say, some interesting reactions.
So, can I read a comment from Facebook? Manoram had typed something.
Okay.
Patience reminded Manoram, the mic is on. Manoram writes, patience reminded me of the verse spoken by Lord Brahma, Tattenu kampam susamikshano. My dear Lord, one who earnestly waits for you to bestow your causeless mercy upon him, all the while patiently suffering the reactions of his past misdeeds, and offering you respectful obeisances with his heart, words, and body, is surely eligible for liberation, for it has become his rightful claim. Then he adds, patiently waiting for the pandemic restrictions to relax so we can go on traveling with you again, Maharaj, to every town and village. So,
Well, that's really impressive. Is he on this call, or is that
so
just something?
apparently he's watching in the Facebook, because this goes on the Facebook and YouTube. There are few uh, who watch
That's,
on the Facebook on a regular basis. So
oh, that's, yeah. Words coming from a very sweet devotee. Yes. Thank you so much. Yes. Patience can be analyzed in so many ways, but it's just something we really have to put into practice, you know? Like I'm personally, I don't have much patience for standing in queues. I hate it with a passion. I must admit, in fact, Krishna rewarded me, I guess, in some way with that hatred. Because when the first time I landed in Mauritius, one guy identified me, said, "Excuse me, sir, please come this way." And they just took me through, bypassed everybody, and I guess somebody, a follower or an admirer of our movement, just said, "Bring that monk over here," and let me bypass everybody. But it's always a good exercise, to be exercising patience. So that's one of the good qualities. And now we've got just a little bit of time left. We have not covered the others. Memory, smriti. It's something we should. What are the best things that you should remember? Okay, we can remember nightmares, and we can also remember sweet dreams. Which one would you prefer? Simple answer. Is that sweet dreams? So the sweet things that happen in our life, perhaps the best thing that ever happened was meeting with devotees. Such a relief, you know. Yesterday I was on a trail and I picked an apple from one of those abandoned organic apple trees, and I bit into it and it exploded. I was in joy. It reminded me of my childhood when food tasted so much better. So that is recalling a nice experience, pleasant. What else? Fine speech. Um, I think that this is something we need to exercise. We don't need to be crass or harsh in communicating with other people. Simply learn the art of fine speech, which inspires people, and you can command And sometimes it's necessary to be very, like, let's say, demanding and in your commanding. And so, for instance, as in war, someone is telling you what to do, and you just got to go with it. And it's not time to be nice and sweet and, hey, Mr. Sweetie Pie Soldier, can you do this and that? No, it's there's no time for that. So generally, we encourage with sweet words, and Prabhupada was like that. He was like that with everyone he met. He would just have, like, it would be small talk, as how are you and where are you from and what do you do, and taking interest in the person. That's always the best way to go. Through fine speech, we can exercise our personalism. Fortune, another point, and I'm going to have to go real soon. Fortune we find in the word, which finds speech, Shri, a common word, opulence, beauty. Yeah, it's great to have that particular quality, to live with that. Ultimately, however, the soul is beautiful. And then also the mention of fame, Kirti. Don't we have somebody in the call with that name, Kirti? Are you famous?
No, Maharaj.
Now you are amongst our circle. But fame it means when someone's recognized for doing good work, isn't it? As someone, we say in Sanskrit, duskritina. That means a person who's meritorious for mischief making. Somebody who's famous for doing wrong. And it seems to me that's often the culture that we live in. Someone gets recognized for doing, being a criminal or being a wrongdoer and being a very troubled individual. It would be nice if we could flip that around and people become famous for being good doers. And hence we study all in our Shastra in the morning, the Bhagavatam. We're hearing about people who might have had challenges, the likes of Ajamil and others, but their lives got turned around and they ended up being very good. So it'd be nice to get back to that kind of a culture, or, just reflecting on people who have done, that make your hearts melt by their meritorious good doing, right? Being pious. Good. So thank you very much. We're going to end it up here right now. I'm attending a Diwali function right now, and we got some new people coming, and so please bless us that they will be inspired somehow. Thank you. Any closing remarks? Anything at all? I have a poem, and I don't know if I read it to you last week or not, but I call it Charm Boy. It's about Krishna stealing the makhan. I think we can save it for next week. How's that?
Your choice.
Okay. I should go. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be with you all.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
And Jai, thank you so much. Getting on board. I see some devotees came near the end. Thank you for that endeavor. Please tell your friends about our little program that we have every week. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Jai. Jai. Hare Krishna. Jai Krishna. Panchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo.
Yeah.